Hi, everyone. This is the Myers fan. I'm back with a very special guest. She is the star of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Please welcome Miss Kathleen Kinmont. Kathleen, how are you?
I'm really great, Darnell. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
I guess my first question would be, what inspired you to pursue a career in acting, and can you share with us how you landed the role of Kelly Meeker?
Well, what inspired me to act, I would probably say, was my mom. She was an actress, Abby Dalton, and she was quite talented and had a lovely career. And I loved watching her, and I loved what she did. And I loved going with her to her plays and being on set with her. And I just admired who she was so much and how she was with people. She was very generous and kind and funny. And when I told her I wanted to be an actor, she said, well, go to class outside of school because it's going to be more of an all around experience instead of just doing plays in high school. Go and work outside. So I did. And that's how I got started. So around 15, I started riding my bike to an acting class that was down the street in Toluca Lake, and and I loved it. So I knew that was really where I wanted to be, was with actors, directors, writers. I just love the whole storytelling experience. I love stories. I love being entertained. I love being an audience member as much as I love being on stage. And I think that it's just a real valuable, responsible role in life is to be a three-dimensional anthropologist.
Hmm.
I love the study of human behavior all around the globe. I'm fascinated by culture and um, just what people do as far as rituals and things that bring them closer and that honor the human experience.
It's
So,
funny. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say it's funny that you said you're fascinated by human behavior because we're going to talk about a very terrible human being today. So,
yeah,
it's funny that you would say that. What about his behavior,
right. Well, I think that Rob Zombie really captured that Michael Myers as why he was the human that he was.
Yeah.
In Halloween, in the remake, um, you know, that young kid had a real crap childhood. His
Hmm.
mom was a stripper who had a real abusive stepfather.
Yeah.
I think abuse has a spiral to it. You know, abuse tends to produce abuse,
Yeah.
sadly. So, I don't think that there's any real mystery to things like that. And I
Hmm.
think that that's what actually makes the movie incredibly frightening, is that this could be anybody, It's not like some monster from the deep. It's the monster that could be living next door.
I was
And
just about to say that.
mhm. So where you get it, you understand it. And that's why I think we are so terrified of that, because he's got a mask. We don't know who he is underneath that.
Yeah.
And COVID was such a reminder of like how much we just get used to people with masks on,
Hmm.
right? So it's like, oh, okay, well, that's that person, which I would never be able to identify in a lineup, given body type or whatever. But yeah, so that's how I got into it. My mom was a big inspiration, and the casting process, to finish the answer to your question, was just very basic. Back in the 80s when that movie was cast. It was a lot of in-person auditions. So that was great to be able to
Hmm.
go in and meet with people and have that human interaction and get that feedback immediately and the direction, the guidance. So that was great. And I just remember it being a very simple audition. Maybe I went back once more. It was probably most likely a callback. I don't know that it wasn't a long process. I don't remember it being some arduous, like, oh my God, 12 callbacks or something painful. But I think they made a decision pretty quickly. So that was nice. It's nice to
So
be the
you've had many acting credits throughout your career as an actress. So my next question would be, obviously you're known for this role, the role of Kelly Meeker. It's what you're best known for, at least from what I can understand. And you had this on-screen rivalry with Rachel Carruthers, who was played by Ellie Cornell. So my question to you is, have you ever experienced a real life rivalry or feud with someone? And if so, what was the cause of that feud, and have you reconciled with the person?
That is such an excellent, highly personal question.
I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight. I'm sorry. I was scared
No,
to
you know
jump
what?
right
You know what
there.
is really crazy though, Darnell? I'm going to tell you because this is so amazing. Because life is crazy this way because you have thoughts throughout your day and you don't know what they mean, but then they might come up later in the day and you're like, "Holy shit, this guy just
Yeah.
asked me a question that I was actually thinking about today." So I will answer that question because it's excellent for one. And I'm going to answer truthfully. Yes, I did have a real life situation like that happen to me. And I was about to say it was before Halloween, before I did the movie. And I was on the other end of what
Wow.
was seen between Ellie and I. I
Mm-hmm.
had a boyfriend when I was a senior in high school. And at my 18th birthday party, which was a pretty big deal, that boyfriend was there at my 18th birthday party. And one of my best friends at the time uh, went and made out with him upstairs
Wow.
in the closed off part of the restaurant. And I found them.
I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, well, she was too. Um, and he was too, and whatever. It was way long ago, and yeah, but I was thinking about that today, and it hit me in such a place because I was so young and so vulnerable that it kicked me in a place in my heart that I was just like, I don't think I could ever get over it. It was just such a soft spot that like it made me stronger for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave her shit the entire night for it because she was spending the night at my house. I kind of didn't really let her sleep. But
Yeah.
but I was able to get it all out of my system. But I was never really able to forgive her. I mean, like, look, I've moved on in my life, but it's not like, it's just, it was such a stab. So I actually wrote this down. My godmother said to me this quote. She said, I could say I forgive you, but I don't. So
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can kind of like, oh, let go of the past, let go of whatever that thing is. Doesn't mean you have to be friends with the person again. Doesn't mean you
That's
have to like.
true.
I don't think that Ellie would have really, or Rachel's character would have necessarily sought out being friends with Kelly Meeker later on in life. Like, hey, sorry about, stealing your
Yeah,
boyfriend, making out with him, and da 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 da. You're kind of like, you know what? You just showed me who you are.
yeah,
And hey, man, I'm cool with it. I'm going to go this way, and you can go fuck off that way as hard
yeah,
as possible. That's
yeah.
okay to do that. That's like fine, firewall boundaries. I think it's really important to have. And she's tried to be friends with me, and I'm just kind of like, sorry, I
And
just don't
it's
have it in me. Like I got a lot of really good friends who would never do that to me. So why do I have to chump up?
Yeah. And it's strange because as I was writing these questions and I got to that one, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Should I say that? Should I say that? Like, you don't understand. I was sweating and nervous because I was like,
You
she
should be,
might,
Darnell. That's
yeah,
all the same shit.
I was like, she
It's
might not
cool.
want to talk about that, you
I'm from
know?
LA. I can roll with it. We roll with it. We're used to earthquakes and stuff.
That's true. I've always wanted to visit LA, by the way.
Well, it is home of the freaking amazing World Series winner Dodgers. So
Yeah.
best
No,
thing
you
that happened in 2020. The only good thing that happened in 2020.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Now, I remember reading on Wikipedia that Halloween 4 actually received negative reviews from critics, but it still maintains a good reputation with the fans. It's their favorite. Fans always say Halloween 4 is their favorite. So my question to you would be, why do you think it's so popular? What's your opinion on why Halloween 4 is a fan favorite?
There's a few reasons. I don't think there's just one, but I do believe that it got back to its original flavor,
Yeah.
which is female in peril.
Mm-hmm.
And when they chose to go younger with Danielle Harris
Mm-hmm.
as the female in peril, they struck a chord with everything that Halloween is about, which is kids and nighttime and getting dressed up and the whole spooky vibe, right?
Yeah.
It's also because she's a kid, she's 9 years old, 10 years old, that reminds us of when we were that vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it added another layer that maybe the first Halloween didn't have because they were older kids. An older kid was trying to take care of a younger kid.
I agree
And,
with that.
it's like, oh God, if I had a big sister that could save me in my, it was just, I think, and the element of the town, the sheriff, and by the way, they brought Donald Pleasance back. That was such a
Yeah.
major win. They just got back to the roots.
I agree with that, and I never thought about that. And I might add that you're right because uh, Tommy Doyle had Laurie Strode to protect him, where Jamie Lloyd had nobody. I mean, Rachel tried, but what about the times where Michael incapacitated Rachel and Rachel wasn't there to protect her? So you're right. Danielle or Jamie had nobody, whereas Tommy Doyle had Laurie. So that's a good point. Very good point.
It's the vulnerability factor of the character that you care about the most.
Yeah,
And the reason why you care about another character is because you see other characters in the story care about that character.
yeah,
And you see that character that you care about other characters in the story.
yeah. She's
So
a
it's
fan
like when you
favorite.
even break the word down, character,
Yeah,
care is
yeah.
the first thing you hear.
Mm-hmm.
So is it character driven or plot driven? Personally, it's always going to be character driven for me. The story is what they're going through. It's the character that you care about. And I think that from the moment Dwight Little started with those images for the main titles, which were so brilliant and so beautiful and so set the tone, you're in. You're into the movie because those images were very well thought out. He cared a lot about setting the vibe and the emotionality and going back and really looking at what Hallows Eve was all about. It was the harvest. It was the time where people were starting to, get ready for the winter. It was a, you know, time when, things were just starting to buckle down. It was just like the leaves were gone. There was not, it's just stark. So I think he really got it with that. I love
Oh,
those
he
main
nailed it. No
titles.
question. He nailed it. I thought you were all great. It's not to say that the modern actors aren't good, but you guys were fantastic. You were great. Ellie was great. Danielle was on another level. She's a legend. The fans love her. She's one of my most requested guests. So, it's kind of annoying when they keep saying that to me. Can you talk to Danielle? I said, look, I can't do anything. So that's up to Danielle. But I'm happy that I have you here today because you seem like one of the sweetest people. And I was talking to my aunt earlier, and I said, this Kathleen Kinmont seems very sweet, and I'm happy to have you here. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, Darnell. Thank you. And yes, I agree. Danielle's great. Ellie, wonderful as always. And Sasha Jensen was such a great get too. He and I knew each other from high school.
Oh
So
wow.
we've really been friends for a while. And it's just really nice that we got to do that. I iconic film really together and have that great memory and still remain friends to this day. So I'm friends with all of them. It was a really beautiful experience to get to be a part of that and then to have these great relationships still intact.
Yeah. And my next question would be your character met a tragic end at the hands of Michael Myers, who was, of course, portrayed by the late actor George P. Wilbur.
Mm.
So I would ask you, did you rehearse the scene with George, your death scene? And if so, what did you discuss and what was he like in real life?
We didn't really rehearse it. It was just they created the practicality of putting it all together up on that door, and the rehearsal was really. We shot the rehearsal, I think. I mean, like, you kind of go through the blocking a little bit. They tell you what you want to do, and then they're like, "Let's just start shooting it." Because it was a contraption that wasn't super comfortable, they mounted a 10-speed bike seat onto the door so that I had somewhere to sit on while my legs were dangling. And then they had a harness on me underneath the shirt with a hole in the back of the shirt with a wire that went onto the harness that went through the door. They drilled a hole in the door. So they had me sitting on a chair with a harness and they pulled the harness so that I would go whoop, flying back up to the door.
But was
So
that comfortable for you? I mean, to sit there like that?
hell no, 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 it's none of it's comfortable. Let me just get it straight. Like for most parts of every part of anything you see on film, none of it's really comfortable. I mean, unless you're in a coma, like you're
Yeah.
getting somebody
Yeah.
hooked up to machines. It's the only time. Everything else, you're just on, you're thinking, I mean, first of all, you don't want to be thinking about too many things. You want to be just completely dealing with who you're dealing with. But no, that particular instance was not comfortable. Um, so they tried to make it happen as quickly as possible to get me off of the bicycle seat with nothing supporting my feet. And, you know, I was focused doing it and trying to make it look as horrific as possible and
Well,
scary. And
you did a good job. I'll tell you that. I had Ellie Cornell on the channel a few years ago, and she did something similar where she sat in the chair dead, after Michael killed her in part 5. And I'm like, how do you just sit there like that? I don't understand how you guys just sit there and just like, I don't understand how you do that. So I wouldn't be able
I
to
don't know,
do
you
it.
just pretend you've been watching 8 hours of TV or something, and you just like,
Yeah. It's so crazy because I would keep yelling cut if it were me, I'd be like, cut, I can't do this. Let's switch to something
that's the
else.
last thing you want to be yelling when you're an actor and the director doesn't appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I
It's
think
like,
I would
that's
be
my
fired.
bird. I get to yell action and cut. You just keep going until I say something.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
might have
I mean,
been
that's what I'm
fired.
talking about. So you get it, you understand. I mean, and I think that that's probably why, maybe why people look at actors at some kind of athlete level, right?
Yeah,
Like demigods, because we do put ourselves into, environments that are hot, cold, wet, dirty, exhausting, the hours it takes, the turnarounds, the learning of the lines, the immersing yourself into emotionalities that you would have never experienced if you hadn't had this job today, right?
yeah,
Like, if I wasn't being paid to do this right now, there's no way I'd be like sitting on a bike seat with a harness on, being ziplined into a door. I mean, like, there's only reasons to do. I mean, maybe if you're Johnny Knoxville and you want to like be pushed down a flight of stairs in a shopping cart with no pants on or something, but I'm not that person. I like to like to be paid for it and have a
I mean, but you got to be
point.
paid you got to be paid a lot of money though, right? I mean, there comes a point where you say all the money in the world can't make me sit on this bike seat like this.
Well, right. Well, like, yeah, like, I mean, sure, there's money involved, but you also want to be telling a story
Yeah.
personally. For me, it's like very important to have a story to be told. So yeah, she got what she had coming, that character. She wasn't that nice.
No, she was not. Not at all. So I guess I would ask, even though you already answered it earlier, I would ask you, during the production of Halloween 4, did you develop any strong bonds with any of the cast members? And if you did, which ones did you form these relationships with? And have you still maintained a relationship with them to this day? Who are you close with today?
Yes, all of them, and yes. I mean, I don't really talk to Ellie that much because she's back east, but if I reached out to her, she would respond for sure. Danielle and I see each other quite a bit still, and Sasha and I stay in contact. Dwight, same. They're just all really, really lovely people, and yes, it was a pleasure to get to meet great folks and maintain relationships, because that's really all we take with us, right? A
Yeah,
relationship.
I'm that's why I'm so glad to be meeting you because I said to myself as I was writing the questions, I always wondered what the 80s were like, and now I sort of get to travel back to the 80s with you. So thank you for taking me back to the 80s. It looked like a lot of fun. So,
It was. Yes, it was definitely the era of girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And so do guys. Yeah, everybody just wants to have fun. It was a great time. I loved the 80s. Yeah, very nostalgic.
And I guess my final question would be, after Halloween 4, Michael Myers appeared in four more sequels, which go from Halloween 4 all the way to Resurrection, and then they rebooted it. Rob Zombie rebooted it in 2007, and then of course Blumhouse did it in 2018. And you know that Michael Myers is known for his ability to keep coming back. So I would ask you, if given the choice, what would you like to see Michael Myers do in the next film? What would your film be about?
Mine would be about ballroom dancing for sure. I would
Okay.
really like to see Michael Myers learn the tango.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, maybe my character could be the niece
Yeah.
to Kelly Meeker or something.
Hmm.
I have no idea. Or the cousin, some distant cousin, and I'm a dance teacher, and Michael Myers comes in to learn ballroom dancing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we can get a look at the softer side of Michael Myers, you know?
Yeah, like that Jennifer Lawrence and what's that guy's name? Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that movie they did, that ballroom movie. Yeah, and Michael Myers and I just start competing like in these like Arthur Murray dance competitions across the nation. And we just go far. We go like
I think that would get a lot of views on YouTube, that's for sure.
we go straight to the disco ball. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I mean, like he's
Yeah,
pretty much done everything.
that's
That
true.
or we join the rodeo and he becomes a rodeo clown and I'm like a barrel racer, but we hook up anyway. It's just really just super urban and,
Hmm.
and yeah. I've got ideas. I've got
That well, he's done everything else, so why not dance, you know? Why not?
dance or rodeo clown.
That's true.
Because
So,
all he needs is just like with that mask would be just like a really good like rainbow afro,
hmm.
right? You know, like that super great clown hair. I just love that. That's what's missing from his look. I'm down with that. That or just something like a really slick cowboy hat.
Yeah, well,
And he just gets gored, like straight up, like right at the beginning of the movie, he gets gored by a just an insane cow that or steer that comes up over the wall. It hasn't even like the chute hasn't even opened yet. Like have you seen that happen at the rodeos every once in a while? The cows are the steers are waiting to be like the you know for the bronc riding or the bull riding. Those
yeah,
bull riders. Sometimes the bulls are just like I'm ready and you're
yeah.
not, and the bull comes like up over the fence line
Hmm.
and he just gores Michael Myers just straight up in the first 30 seconds of the movie. And then the rest of the movie is like, how did he get here to becoming a rodeo clown?
Well, like I said, they've done everything else, so why not? You know?
This feels like the writer's room for Sharknado. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what did that writer?
Maybe we can put Michael Myers on a cruise or something and have him kill off a bunch of the guests there or something. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Oh, like a love boat.
There you go. Exactly.
Oh, I like where you're going with it because
Yeah.
actually that way, you know how Love Boat just always had like a gazillion celebrities on every episode.
Yeah.
You could just bring everybody who's ever been in a Halloween movie. And it's just like this very random Love Boat.
Yeah, and he's just stalking
You
everybody.
don't mention the fact that everyone's been in a Halloween movie. It just
That's
happens.
right.
Oh my God, there's Scout Compton, and oh wow, there's Jamie Lee, and oh no way, there's Kyle Richards, and just everyone
Exactly.
just like casually on a boat having their own story. You know,
And yeah, why not?
Michael
I
Myers is Captain Steubing.
yeah.
You got to bring back the entire Love Boat cast and crew, like whoever's left. Like actually, um, uh, we Jill Whelan. I know Jill Whelan. We actually did the
Hmm.
show together. Yeah, she was Captain Steubing's daughter.
I also saw you in Mortal Kombat Conquest, by the way. I think you were in that show back in the 90s. Do you remember that show, Mortal Kombat Conquest?
Of course I do, because that's where I met one of my dearest friends, Kristana Loken.
Yeah,
We became great friends from that show. And to this day, she's one of my ride or dies.
yeah.
And yeah, she's great. But I've never even seen those two episodes. I don't think she has either. How do
It's
you get
funny.
them? Where did you
It's
see that?
I saw it on, I think it's on HBO Max.
Oh,
One of
really?
Yeah, one of those streaming services.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hmm.
HBO Max. All right. Well, I have
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Can I
And
talk
so
about all the shows I have coming out? I have a
that
TV
that's
show right now.
that's what I was
Oh,
gonna ask you.
okay, let's get to that next. On Vizio, watch for free, is a show called Phoenix,
Okay.
and it's a female-driven espionage, action drama, human trafficking, biochemistry, warfare. Really cool show. With Lorraine Price and Grace Byers, and just a really killer cast. Michael Broderick, Garrett Wang, Carmen Moreno, some really, really cool actors. So that's a full series streaming now on Vizio.
Okay.
And I've got there's a movie called Kangaroo Kids on Sunstream, which is a new platform, Sunstream. Really sweet kids movie. And I've got like four things coming out and The Black Mass. That's a really cool
Okay.
film that's out right now, uh, about Ted Bundy. And
Wow. I think I gotta check that out. I'm into true crime.
yes, The Black Mass. It is true crime and it's horrific. And that was directed by Devaney Pinn. And it's really cool. I'm really proud of that. And there's a movie called Vice and Virtue with Kristana Loken from her production company. Kristana and I play sisters in that, which is
Oh,
great.
okay. I tried to get her on here to talk about Terminator 3, but for some reason she wouldn't respond. I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
she doesn't want to talk about it. I have no clue. But um who knows? Maybe
she's
I can get her
probably
on in the
really busy.
future.
I don't know, but she is a very busy woman. And, well, anyway, I don't know about her schedule, but there's also another movie called Horntack, which is coming out.
Hmm.
Another action thriller. Bird's Eye Witness, that's a kind of crazy comedy that's coming out. And I just did a pilot called The Boulevard.
Wow, you've been busy.
Pilots, because you never really know, but it feels like it's going to go. So hopefully that will happen. And if it does, then you heard it from me first. That's a show about the look into the life of an LA publicist
Wow.
city firm. Yeah,
Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
you got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It was nice meeting you.
It was really nice to meet you too, dear. Take care. Thank
All
you.
right.